Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla. I have a cold and today I'm going to tell you about some newly announced books. All of these should be 2026. Well, I guess maybe there's a 2027 release, but these should all be 2026 releases. Let's start with Paul Tremblay. I was going to do a drum roll and then I forgot. My mind is not fully here. I'm doing my best. Jed But Dreaming of Electric Sheep got announced. I feel like maybe it got announced, the title, in one of these previous videos, but I'm not totally sure. Regardless, we have a cover and it has an eyeball and there's a rabbit in the eyeball. So of course I have to read this. I briefly read through this because I'm thinking about it for a Literally Did book club pick. I don't remember very much about it though. Meet Julia Flang, a 20-something former semi-professional gamer living with her retired uncle and working two jobs she doesn't like. Out of the blue, her estranged mother, a CFO for one of the world's largest tech companies, offers her a temp job with a payday Julie can't refuse. Julia. One sham interview later, she's offered to chaperone a man in a vegetative state, one with proprietary AI implanted in his head from California to the East Coast. So it's like a road trip story. We've got AI. Somebody asked a question on his Instagram. They were like, is this more sci-fi or more horror? And it does say here it's genre bending, but he said it's definitely horrific. I saw that comment. So that's one that's coming. Riley Sager, doing it again. Has another book every year, it seems. I thought he was taking a break. This one's called The Unknown, and I think he's roped me back in. It's another historical one, but this one seems like it's going to be horror. So we'll see. It doesn't have a cover yet. What do you think it's going to look like? Struggling actress Marion Keene is shocked when she lands a role in a major motion picture about the unsolved mystery of New Avalon, an island on sprawling Lake Faraday in Vermont. She's even more surprised when she learns that the role requires a week-long research trip to that very spot, because New Avalon isn't your ordinary island. A century ago, it was a commune for spiritual mediums until they all vanished in 1926. The only trace of them was 5 dresses hanging from the branches of an old oak tree in the middle of the island, one for each missing woman. So they're all coming back to the island, the cast and the director. They hear strange noises in the night. Maybe something is happening on the island, something supernatural. I think it's going to be one that we question the supernatural, but I think he'll go for it. Like, this is what we wanted from him, right? Because the last couple years have been mysteries. Then we have a new Temi O. This is called Not With a Bang. I like the cover. I think the colors are pretty. When the world finally ends, will you see it coming? Will you be prepared? I don't know. In the summer sky, a celestial object is fast approaching due to a slingshot around the Earth and disappears again. I didn't read that correctly. And everyone has their own theory of what it is. A meteor, a planet, aliens. Meanwhile, the Minton family is in crisis. Briar Minton can't stop thinking about a girl who went missing 6 months ago. Investigating her disappearance takes her down a rabbit hole deep in the world of a cult and the extraterrestrial intelligence they claim is communicating with them. At the same time, her father Marcus is becoming more unhinged after losing his job as a policeman, becoming obsessed with doomsday prepping and forcing his wife and 4 daughters along for the ride. He is completely convinced and maybe even a little bit hopeful that the apocalypse is imminent. As the celestial object approaches, the Mintons reach their breaking point. This is interesting. I don't see if it's tagged specifically as adult or young adult. I've read from Temi O before. If you're new to these types of videos, I just read the synopsis and I decide in the moment if I'm interested, and I don't know if this one is for me. I think it's something I would have read like 4 years ago, the existentialness of it all, but I'm not totally sure. I just grab books that like I've read from the author. The cover looks interesting. This one, Books and Bewitchment by Isla Jewell. There's 2 different covers. I prefer the non-pink one. Let me know what you think. It's a cozy, witchy rom-com. That is something that I'm gravitating towards, but I haven't really liked many of them. But I'm going to still give them a go next year. A young woman works to turn a run-down small-town video store into the bookshop of her dreams. Cute! Only to discover a powerful magic that's been lying dormant and a forbidden love she can't resist. Okay, I don't think we have to read the synopsis of all of them. Like, we just get a little bit of vibe, especially if we haven't read from the other before. Like, that's enough. Then we have the 3rd book in the Flesh and False God series. I think I'm most interested to see if this is actually the color of the dust jacket, because I'm still so butthurt that the original images of book 2 was like black with a like blue tinge to it, but the cover in real life is just blue and none of the images online represent that properly. So I want to know if this one is this goldy yellow or what's happening? I can't give you any details. One, because it's not on Goodreads. Two, it's a third book in a series. So just look at the cover and that's all we need to know. Oh, also a third book in a series got announced, Deadbeat by Leigh Bardugo. Don't know what this is about, but she did officially announce that the third book in the Alex Stern series has a title. So there's that. The Tapestry of Fate by Shannon Chakraborty, the second book in the Amina Al-Sarafi series. She just posted yesterday that the cover was coming out today. Just kidding, it's not here yet. Okay, well, she posted it 21 hours ago, so I imagine maybe it was posted exactly 24 hours before the announcement. So I will pop back in a couple hours when it has been announced. Okay, I waited 3 hours. It's 4 p.m. It's past 4 p.m. now, PST. I figured that's about when it would be announced, 7 p.m. EST. I feel like if you're gonna do a cover reveal, it's before this time of day. I don't have the cover to react to, but I'm sure by the time you're watching this, it's probably out. I think it has a griffin on the cover. I think it's based on the teaser. It's red and orange and it's really beautiful and it matches perfectly. Whatever it looks like, I'm excited to read it. And that's all I have to say. Leave and Come Back is the next one. I love the cover of this one. I think it's so pretty. I love the pink. It is by Lavanya Lakshmi and it says family drama meets romantic comedy. Perfect. When a young woman's new boyfriend accidentally shows up to a 2-week-long family wedding, kicking off a comedy of errors in this funny, vibrant, and heartwarming debut. That sounds perfect for me. We've got The Labyrinth of Waking Dreams by Michelle Kulwicki, and I just like the idea of a labyrinth, so I want to know. I don't love the cover, but I think it's nice. Like, I like the way that the font fits. In this adventure-packed portal fantasy, 3 teens... Oh shoot, it's YA. 3 teens discover a gateway to a mythical labyrinth in the Appalachian Mountains. Our Monstrous Bodies. I love the cover. Those of you who can't stand, what's it called? Whatever, seeing like little holes and circles, especially being on someone's face is probably so disturbing. It's by Emma Cleary. It says an extraordinary literary horror debut. Okay. After an ill-omened romance with a horror cinephile, Brooke travels to Vancouver, to care for her estranged sister Izzy, who's facing reproductive surgery. Inside Izzy's rapidly decaying apartment building, its halls stalked by an ominous crone known only as Medusa, new frictions emerge and old wounds reopen. Brooke soon finds traces of horror bleeding from the screen and into her reality. Okay, it talks about loneliness, motherhood, and bodily autonomy in a literary debut. I'm intrigued. Pool House by Mary H.K. Choi. I saw somebody post. I think she's written YA, if I'm thinking about the right author. And I believe this is adult, and I like the cover. Okay, best-selling young adult author Mary H.K. Choi debuts a brilliantly observed adult novel about mothers, daughters, and the complexity of family set against the backdrop of Hollywood. Stevie Moon cannot escape her mother. Abandoning college plans to work a dead-end job, her days are a purgatorial bore. Many dream of moving to LA and into the spotlight, and Stevie can't wait to move away from it and her mother's orbit to start over. Pool House is a course charted through the wilderness of motherhood, a story about the challenges of navigating class, fame, burgeoning sexuality, and grief as 2 women grapple with what it means to grow up and grow older in Tinseltown. I don't know if that one's for me. Bog People. Love the cover, not just because of the eyeball. I just love the vibes. A working class anthology of folk horror. Unleash the dark and delirious with this electrifying anthology of folk horror from some of Britain's most iconic working class voices. Okay, we've got ghosts, a stew made from severed body parts, a bigoted woman, siblings and scattering their family's ashes, a hagstone sitting in the pocket of a witch. Uncanny and unsettling. Wild and weird. The 10 stories in this collection showcase the best of folk horror. Interesting. We got a cover for Hot Girl Murder Club by Ashley Winstead. I'm still, I think, going to read it, but the cover does look like a little, like I've seen a million things like this, you know, in the thriller world. But let's see. 10 years ago, aspiring actress, Scout Sage, lost the only thing that mattered, her sister Georgia. Ever since Georgia's mysterious death at the Hollywood party. I literally can't read, I can't speak, and I can't see. Work with me. Scout's done her best to honor her memory, clawing her way through the industry and collecting a network of climbers along the way, fellow hot girls in stilettos with cutthroat ambition, a new Hollywood order. But when a slew of targeted murders make headlines across LA, all pointing to Scout as the killer, she turns overnight from a mid-tier pop star into the world's most famous alleged murderer. Now everything she's worked to build, including the justice she wants for Georgia, will fall apart unless Scout can prove she's not guilty. Okay. I'll probably pick it up. Second First Dates by Gabriela Gamez. I like the cover. A librarian swipes right on a charming high school teacher, only to realize that she'd already dated him once and it ended in disaster. Letty has heard all the dating horror stories, but she never expected to be part of one coming out of a 4-year dating hiatus. When she matches with Julian, she doesn't think much of how similar his profile picture looks, but when the date goes awry, it unlocks a terrible first date memory that made her quit dating in the first place. Oh my gosh, but they're gonna fall in love again. Cutesy. This cover is called Natural Disaster by Lisa Owens. I think it's so fun. Let's see, I just go past all the blurbs. For weeks, she has been saying it will be their special day. One last perfect day with her children before she returns to work after maternity leave. Okay, what's the worst that can happen? I don't know. Unfolding across 24 hours, Natural Disaster is a propulsively, darkly funny, and sharply observant novel about the absurd, frustrating, hilarious, precarious, bittersweet, sometimes astonishing challenge, literal, existential, of being a woman, a mother, a wife, a person for one single entire day. Okay, so just chaos incarnate. I do think I want to read that. Nat Cassidy has a new book announced. I think those are eyeballs in the keys, which is perfect. It's called I Know a Place. Oh, wait. Is it a short story collection? Because it says Rest Stop and Other Dark Detours. There are locations in this world where the light doesn't seem to reach, where no matter how illuminated the place might be, shadows creep in too strongly to fight back. A suspiciously empty gas station rest stop in the middle of the night, a doctor's office, a tech millionaire's haunted kitchen, a ventriloquist's dingy apartment, a yoga retreat in the middle of the desert. These supernatural and sinister locations are your destination. Okay, this is fun. So it's 300 pages. We already know like 100 of that is Rest Stop. I loved Rest Stop. So there's just a couple more little short story or novella size stories. That's great. I will be reading it. Sublimation by Isabel J. Kim. This one has 2 covers. Let me know which one you prefer. I like the one with the faces. When you immigrate, you leave a copy of yourself behind. One person enters their new country, the other stays trapped at home. Some instances keep in touch, call each other daily, keep their lives and minds in sync in the hopes of reintegrating and resuming a life as one person. Others, like So Young Rose Kung, leaves home at 10 and never speaks to their other selves again. Rose in America never imagined going back to Korea until her grandfather dies and her Korean instance calls her home for the funeral. When she arrives, she discovers that So Young plans to steal her body and live her life, whether Rose wants to reintegrate or not. Yeah. That is for me. What? Speculative, plenty of commentary. Love it. Book Club Boyfriend by Jenny Holiday. In this simmering enemies to lovers romance, a divorced actress... Okay, what's up with all of the Hollywood stories coming out? A divorced actress invites the surly writer who rejected her to live in her pool house when they both find themselves at a crossroad. Interesting. Will I read that? Not sure. I'll probably wait and see if you tell me I have to. Nightshade and Oak by Molly O'Neill. This is the author of Green Teeth, which I haven't read yet, but this one sounds... I haven't read it. Looks intriguing. An Iron Age goddess must grapple with becoming human in this delightful historical fantasy of myth and magic. When Malt, the goddess of death, is accidentally turned human by a wayward spell, she finds she's ill-equipped to deal with the trials of a mortal life. After all, why would a goddess need to know how to gather food or light a fire? Unable to fend for herself, she teams up with warrior Bellis on a perilous journey to the afterlife to try to restore her powers. Frustrated by her frail human body and beset with blisters, Malt might not make the best traveling companion, but an animosity slowly turns to attraction. These two very different women must learn to work together if they are to have any hope of surviving their quest. That sounds good. That sounds good. We Hexed the Moon is next. Also 2 covers. I think it already came out in 2025, but someone else is publishing it or a different country for 2026. And it says Bunny Meets the Craft, which is big shoes to fill. The speculative debut about 4 friends who perform a ritual on the moon in a last-ditch attempt to hold on to one another, but are forced to reckon with the consequences. It's a summer after high school graduation, and 4 island-grown best friends are about to be forced to depart their plans for the future. Sorry, there's weird capitalization in this. Rather than process the world of expectations bearing down on them or the secrets they've kept hidden, they perform a ritual on the moon in an impulsive fit of teen bravado. They don't expect it to actually work. Interesting. I'll probably pick that up unless someone else has already read it and they tell me not to. Okay, we've got The Death Row Club, which is like such a fantastic title. I don't necessarily love the cover, so let's see if the pitch does it for me. A darkly twisted and wonderfully original debut thriller for fans of Riley Sager and Jessica Knoll. At an annual weekend getaway for the adult children of serial killers, the participants begin to wonder if someone's continuing the family tradition when one of their numbers turns up dead. I don't know about that one. This one, tennis is really coming into the fiction world, you know? So we're all going to read The Open Era together by Edward Schmidt. Love evens the score between 2 tennis players in this stunning debut romance. Recently turned pro tennis player Austin has been out since high school, and it's never been a big deal. That is until he becomes the first openly gay man to compete in a Grand Slam. Suddenly being gay is a huge deal with headlines to prove it. Unprepared for the new spotlight, Austin's anxiety disorder hits a breaking point and he trips and falls at practice, right next to the very attractive, very talented, and probably straight Diego Cruz, ranked world number 2. The 2 players start a friendship off the court, but between their flirty banter, mixed signals, and brewing rivalry, Austin is thrown further off his game by Diego. So now they're going to fall in love and they have to compete against each other. The sports queer romance of our dreams, and written by a man. A lot of women are writing male-male romance. A lot of people are reading women who are writing male-male romance. Let's support a male author doing the same. Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke. This has 2 covers. There's one clearly far better. Let me know if you agree. A traditional American woman, a beautiful wife and mother who sells her pioneer lifestyle of raw milk and farm fresh eggs to her millions of social media followers, suddenly awakens cold, filthy, and terrified in the brutal reality of 1805, where she must unravel whether this living nightmare is an elaborate hoax, a twisted reality show, or something far more sinister in the sensational debut novel. Okay. It threw me off. It brought me back around. It's like, what if a trad wife had to actually be a trad wife in the 1800s? I don't know about that. There's also one that just got announced called Trad Wife by Sarah Langan. This is really not content that I care to consume on social media, but I understand the appeal and wanting to write books around the rise of this conversation, I guess. This one says, your favorite influencer is about to be exposed. Every day, millions watch Mia Wright, the Trad Wife queen, on her idyllic 300-acre farm with her handsome husband, 7 perfect children, and a life of from-scratch meals and pastoral bliss. She's an icon of modern femininity, but behind every perfect image is a secret, and in this case, the secret is horror. Because it's horror, it intrigues me. I don't know if I love Sarah Langan, but I'll see what everyone else thinks of this one. We've got The Winter Folk by Jen Julian. A woman return. I like the idea of the cover, but I also hate it, actually, at the same time. A woman returns to the mysterious lodge in the woods where she once worked, and to the inscrutable creature that bound her there, in this haunting Appalachian Gothic horror. This is the story of Moth, who earned her name working for the Winter Folk. Every year, the Winter Folk gather at a secret lodge, a place known as Deer Haven, refuge for the time-worn and weary. As a child, Moth heard warnings from her mother. They are heartless, wild creatures, and they have no concern for us. At 21, Moth is a college dropout. Indebted, impoverished, she falls for Deer Haven's beautiful antlered host, the mild-mannered Mr. Oslin. When he offers her a housekeeping contract, she signs it without question. But it's a dangerous place. Okay, interesting. This one, The Big Bad Book of Kaiju, is interesting because I saw it announced. I got excited about it because I saw Tananarive-Dew's name listed. But a lot of the comments seem to be talking about the fact that this cover is AI. And the publisher said it's not, it's this designer. But we can't really know if the designer used AI, I guess. And there's no like link to that person or that person sharing any information about designing the cover. So that's something that I would like to know based on like the, cultural inspiration of this. It says a thrilling and cataclysmic collection of city-smashing titans and the desperate coalitions of humanity clinging to survival in the wreckage. Featuring best-selling authors, there's 25 stories. Who do I recognize in here? Maurice Broaddus, Tananarive Due, Christopher Golden, Ai Jiang, Alma Katsu, Tim Leben, Shauna McGuire, Cynthia Palaio, and then a whole bunch of people I've never read from. So that's definitely on my radar. What do you think? Bone of My Bone by Joanna Van Veen got announced. This is like a religious-inspired horror. I don't know. The cover image, I don't know. I feel like it's cultural in a certain way that I can't say for certain makes me feel a certain way. The year is 1635. Sister Ursula, a young nun fleeing the ruins of her convent. Oh my God, I just noticed the background image is a nun. I was only looking at the skull. Sister Ursula and Elizabeth, a sharp-witted peasant, escape a band of marauding soldiers and disappear into the Bavarian forest. War scorches the land and no one survives it alone. Amid the devastation, they find something in the arms of a dying something, the gilded skull of a saint. It's said if you reunite the saint's skull with her body, a wish will be granted. Okay, so it's this desperate journey, gothic horror. Interesting. M.M. Olivas, author of Sundown in Sanjuelo, which I have in my TBR closet, has a new book coming out. It's not on Goodreads yet, but it's called And Other Things with Teeth. Oh, 2027. That's all we know about it. So put it in the back of your mind. Simultaneous by Eric Heiserer, who is the Oscar-nominated screenwriter of Arrival, has a speculative thriller about a federal agent and a therapist who team up to stop an otherworldly killer coming out. Then there's one called Bromantasy coming out. It says it's a queer, cozy fantasy about the mortifying ordeal of being known by your totally platonic best friend and the epic quest that might force you to confront the truth. Fellas, is it gay to kiss your BFF while on a quest through the forest you're unqualified for? The Players Club by Rachel Mills. Beth Greenwood has spent her life playing it safe. She's been a graphic designer at the same company for a decade. She dutifully meets men from the apps for dinner and sometimes has casual sex. She thinks about decorating her sterile small apartment. Her comfort and joy are her Sunday catch-ups with her sister. One day, Beth meets a woman who invites her to a secret club. It's not for knitting or books. It's living out an experience you've always wanted to have. Cirque du Soleil, acrobat, gonzo graffiti artist, performer in the BDSM underground, these women will get you everything you need in order to temporarily be the person you might have been had your life taken one or two different turns. Huh? The Players Club, that wasn't me, that was the synopsis. The Players Club is a high concept but grounded debut about the power of female friendship, the bonds that hold us in place, the human need for creativity, and the seductive possibility of reinvention. For some reason, I can't figure out if what I just read means it's speculative or not. Okay, interesting. There are so many fucking turquoise covers this year coming out. Like, it's really the color of the moment, and it's my least favorite color. Leave Your Mess at Home. Love the cover of this one. The Long siblings are really botching their parents' American dream. Sola, eldest daughter, estranged from the family, is secretly back home in Chicago for the first time in a decade. Jola is in love with her best friend, who recently got engaged to someone else. And Ola, the golden child with a baby of his own on the way, is questioning his marriage and how to raise a black son in America. In the wreckage of their fateful reunion, each Long is forced to reckon with the past, take stock of what really matters, and find a way back to each other. Sometimes sibling stories work for me, sometimes they don't, so I will probably check that one out. Wait. Oh, I thought this was Sophie Hannah. This is Sophie Hannon. It's a debut. Okay, this is an author I haven't read from before. Because she hasn't written anything, but I thought it was someone else. We Were Never Here is the title. It says a sapphic debut about 3 ghost hunters turned art thieves, using their viral show as a front, who are blackmailed into completing their catastrophic last heist and retrieving the haunted painting that may have murdered their ringleader. But someone followed them home that night and will do anything to stop them from finishing the job. Oh, it's young adult. All right. About to Fall Apart. I also really like the cover. 80s just punched a coworker, but he hasn't got time to deal with the fallout. With a deadline fast looming, he must get home, knuckle down, and finish the story he's been working on, a story he hasn't been able to stop thinking about. It's a story of a falling plane and a grieving mother. Set across one weekend, About to Fall Apart is the exhilarating story of a man of mixed heritage living on the Irish border as he tries to stay positive, reconnect with his children, and maybe even find his own birth mother. Okay, I'll read that. Then we've got Dreamland by Olivia Blake, an intimate, contemporary, and visceral Gothic novel about family secrets, unsolved murders, and ill-fated summer love. The headlines are calling it the summer of exsanguination in LA. Girls are being murdered, the Santa Ana winds are blowing a strange energy into the city, and all signs point to fire season. But Anya has other things to worry about, like whatever it takes to get a foot in the door of an unfeeling, ever-changing industry after losing the TV pilot that should have been her big break. There's a movie star that she falls in love with. Okay. Next, I'm also not reading this one by Lisa Jewell because I don't read Lisa Jewell anymore, but I thought I'd let you know in case you love her stuff. It Could Have Been Her was announced. It says, no cover yet. It was the night she almost died. Jane, newly divorced and feeling a little lost, agrees to accompany a man she doesn't know to his house in the darkest corner of Hampstead Heath. She's offered a drink, goes in, and then a scream and the sound of something falling upstairs. Jane senses she's in a bad place. She runs. 25 years later, Jane finds herself outside the same house, this time to return a small white dog who's been found near her home in the country, a dog whose owner has just been reported missing. A fleeting glimpse of a haunted-looking woman through the window sends Jane on a mission to uncover the house's secrets. Secrets more terrifying than she could have ever imagined, especially when she realizes it could have been her. Intriguing. More tealy turquoisey green, which I do realize I'm kind of wearing that tone. The Midnight Train. This is from Matt Haig, and I'm imagining it's like a spin-off of the Midnight Library, which I loved. No one can change the past, but the Midnight Train can take you there. The chance to relive the moments that meant most, to see what kind of person you really were. For Wilbur, his best days were with Maggie, the love of his life, on his honeymoon in Venice before he gave it all away. He wishes he could go back and live differently, but to do risks everything. To do so risks everything. A magical time-traveling love story from the world of the Midnight Library. Maybe that's not for everyone, but I like the idea of it. We Call Them Witches. I like this cover. It's by India Rose Bauer. Most people have been devoured by the eldritch creatures, but Sarah and her family have been fighting for survival, armed with the knowledge of folklore and pagan rituals, the only weapon that seems to work against these monsters. And then a young woman, Parsley, comes out of nowhere into Sarah's life. Found in their garden, they have no idea where she's from. Sarah and Parsley begin to fall in love, but disaster strikes when Sarah's brother Noah is taken by the creatures. They set out to find him across a landscape of merciless horror haunted by death. But can Parsley truly be trusted in a world where humanity is as scarce as humans themselves? It sounds like it could be adult or young adult, but it is tagged as adult. Oh, there's another cover. The fucking bluish, greenish bullshit. Escape by Stephen Fishbach is interesting. A propulsive debut novel following a has-been reality TV star and a disgraced producer who get one last shot at redemption on a show set on a remote island, only to discover that the plot twists are beyond what they ever imagined. It's like thriller suspense fiction, and it's like almost 500 pages. That sounds interesting. The Mirror Halls. A widow searching for her husband and a daughter missing her mother collide at a lake in Scotland, where it's rumored the things you've lost can be returned at a cost. Okay. In this gorgeously written fantasy exploring what it means to dream, to die, and to truly live. That's intriguing. That feels like something that like Book of the Month or Aardvark will pick up, or like Jenna's Book Club. Just something that seems like really heartfelt. Craig DeLuey has something new coming called The Summer Fun Massacre. It's summer 1983 and then summer 1982. The first one, a blood-soaked summer camp counselor is found staggering down a country road, the sole survivor of a horrific massacre. In the later timeline, the camp reopens. Now a sheriff's deputy, Now a sheriff's deputy, Tom, doubts this is a good idea, but the camp has been refurbished. The counselor is hired and the little campers are on their way. Responding to reports of blood-curdling howl near the camp, he again arrives, because he was there the last time, to save everybody. The killer is nowhere to be seen. Hoping to catch the killer and finally right his own mistakes, Tom reconnects with Mary. She's convinced that the killer is not human, but instead a rural legend known as the Hungry Hare. Interesting. The Wellness Retreat by Don Kurtigic. Jamie's promising career as a cellist comes to a screeching halt when chronic illness takes over her life. Then her vibrant sister Sybil, an influencer turned wellness consultant at an exclusive health retreat, leaves her a series of distressing messages that contain hidden cries for help and a voucher for a free stay. So she now is going to go be a guest, but it's a lot darker than she's going to expect. Honey is a cover I'm obsessed with by Amani Thompson. It's a wickedly funny adrenaline rush of a novel about a graduate student who murders bad men and justifies it in the name of feminism. That's not my number one pull to a book, like the revenge angle and just like taking out terrible men. Like I know a lot of people love that. I don't always find it's that interestingly done, but I think I'll probably pick it up. Trope Sick by Lauren Oakey does not have a cover. In this lush, slow burn romance, two childhood neighbors connected by a shared tragedy unexpectedly reunite to ghostwrite a love story for a reclusive author. Spending the summer at her secluded Hamptons estate, they soon discover that dozens of classic romance tropes, including the ones they're crafting on page, are mysteriously playing out in real life. Yeah. That one sounds like it's for me. Meat Bees is a disgusting cover that people keep sending to me. I'm in love with it. The eyeball, the bug in the eyeball, the bloody teeth. Like, this is so fucked up. The font is very, like, 80s horror, and I hope that it's good. By the time Scarlett arrives at her dad's cabin in the Smoky Mountains, two locals have already been eaten alive by wasps. Of course, she doesn't know that yet. Her mom has finally checked herself into a hospital to take care of her mental health, and she's alone with her father all summer. He insists that she gets a job. She accepts a position nearby at Stovetop Outfitters, hoping to spend as much time away from him as possible. She doesn't expect to trip over a skeletonized corpse beneath the zip line during one of her shifts, and definitely doesn't expect to be thrown into a Netflix-style true crime investigation. The local sheriff's department is so overwhelmed by these unsolved deaths that when one of the Stovetop Outfitters employees disappears next, Scarlett and her coworkers set out to find them on their own. Okay, that sounds interesting. If Books Could Kill, the hottest book of 2026, okay, by Kate Eberly. She thought she was in a romance. Fate threw her into a thriller. Will happily ever after still be in the cards when fiction and reality blur for Roxy? So it's kind of like a novel love story meets the flat share, is what it says. She gets thrown into somebody's novel. Interesting. The third book in the Vacation Mysteries series got announced. This Weekend Doesn't End Well for Anyone by Catherine Mack. Another little murder mystery. An Arcane Study of Stars. This is the author Sydney J. Shields of Honey Witch. So I didn't love that one, but maybe I could continue. It's a historical dark academia filled with ancient secret societies, a swoon-worthy rivals-to-lovers romance, and dangerous deals made after the dark. Perfect for fans of Invisibilife Fatty LaRue and the Alice Six. Maybe. The Someday Garden by Ashley Poston. I don't think there's a synopsis for this one that I've seen, but if you love her stuff, this one's coming up. Yes Chef, a romance novel by Grace Riley, is The Bear Meets It Happened One Summer, a delicious new romance in which a down-on-his-luck chef and a determined social media maven strike a reluctant deal to bring a beloved restaurant back to life. That sounds cute. Kirsty Greenwood, who wrote one of my favorite romances of this last year that I can't remember the title of, is coming out with Romantic Hero. So I'm going to pick this up, I think. Love of My Afterlife is her last one. A heartbroken romance novelist. People love writing about authors, and I love reading about authors, so it just fits. Is forced to address her writer's block when the villainous cowboy character from her book shows up in the real world. I haven't seen this trope done super well a lot of times, where someone goes into a book or someone comes out of a book, but I think I might do like a vlog where I explore more of this because I want to read more of them and find some really good ones. Misery's Wife by Joan Tierney, a queer and cli-fi reimagining of a Portuguese folktale about a young trans woman who must save her elder sisters from the King of Air, the King of Sea, and the King of Misery. That sounds interesting. The Fair Witch of Foxholler looks so fun. It says it's a charming contemporary fantasy debut in which a 30-something kitchen witch whose recipes have the power to heal is recruited to help a reclusive warlock and discover love on the other side of the next bake. That one I think we should all read. And then Clay McLeod Chapman has one called Devil Inside, which looks so different than his recent books. So I'm kind of intrigued. A man who's back from the dead meets a woman who's from somewhere even worse. Oh my. It's a horror romance about love, possession, and just a little murder. I feel like horror romance I've only really heard of women writing. So this is intriguing. After a traumatic accident that almost cost Jordan his life, he's finally starting to feel normal again. At least he's not dead, right? He meets Lilith. They have an instant connection and a passionate night together, but she ghosts him, and he tries to find her, desperate to see her again. A woman shows up claiming to be Lilith, wearing a different face, but knowing intimate details about Jordan. He realizes he's losing his grip on reality. Interesting. Then we have Reliquary? Is that a word? I don't know that word. A young woman, this is by Hannah Witten, is lured to her late fiance's remote island estate, only to uncover eerie family secrets, a haunting past, and a monstrous hunger stirring beneath the sea in this deliciously atmospheric horror debut. I really appreciate the books, the people who, I don't know who's responsible for writing little blurbs like that, but like sometimes I don't want to read the entire synopsis. I just want that amount, and like especially a thriller or horror. So I feel like that's enough to get a vibe. I'm interested in this because I haven't loved books from Hannah Witten, but this one seems, it said horror debut, right? Yeah, so she does like fantasy with like horror kind of vibes, folksy stuff, and this one's going to be properly horror. So I'm going to pick that up. Shay Earnshaw is another author who I don't love, but I love this author's covers so much, and maybe I should give them another go. It's called Habits of the Sea. The night Clay Lockhart's wife dies, a violent storm tears their home and 8 hectares of land beneath it away from the Scottish coast, sending it adrift into the Atlantic. 30 years later, 12-year-old Ellie Mills discovers the fabled floating island off the coast of Nova Scotia and finds Clay still living in the weather-worn farmhouse perched on its highest hill. When the island vanishes overnight, Ellie is left questioning whether it ever existed at all. This is so interesting. Spanning centuries and coastlines, Habits of the Sea is haunting, romantic. It's about memory and the invisible tides that pull us home. Interesting. Okay, let's finish this so I can take a nap and wash my hair. The infamous Gilberts. It's a historical fiction. The cover just intrigued me. The Remains of the Day meets the Royal Tenenbaums. And it's a darkly funny debut about a wealthy, eccentric family in decline and the secrets held within the walls of their crumbling country manor. Thornwalk, a once stately English manor, is on the brink of transformation. Did you hear how I almost decided to go into a British accent? I thought about it for a second. Am I okay? Its keys are being handed over to a luxury hotelier. Is that how you pronounce that? Who will undertake a complete renovation, but in doing so, what will they erase? Through the keen eyes of an enigmatic neighbor, the reader is taken on a guided tour into rooms filled with secrets and memories, each revealing the story of the 5 Gilbert siblings. That's interesting. The X's, this is one of the worst covers I've seen. Oh, and it's also that ugly turquoise. Get it out of here. Leodora Darlington. Who hasn't wanted to murder an ex, figuratively at least? In this explosive debut thriller, a woman's seemingly perfect romantic life, where did I see the word seeking, is on the verge of collapse as she uncovers a hidden history surfacing dark secrets that have deadly consequences. Natalie has only ever wanted to find the one, the perfect man, the happy family she never had, but each time she thinks she's finally getting somewhere, she's bitterly disappointed. Then comes James. Natalie thinks her luck has finally turned. He's the one for her. But the harder Natalie tries to be a normal wife, the more world-upended truths are brought to her door, leaving her unsure of who she is and much less what she'll do. Okay, there's another cover. It's pink. Nope, it's yellow with heart suckers on it. Which one do you like? Will you read it? Jennifer Chen has Checking You Out. Lizzie Y is a huge book nerd and proud of it. Amazing. And when she realizes there is a mysterious reader who has been checking out all of her favorite books from the library, she can't help but get a crush on someone she's never even met. Dylan loves reading, secretly anyway, ever since a bullying incident in his last school. Is this YA? He's hidden his love of fantasy novels instead of leaning into his jock persona. Now he's the tennis team captain. I told you, tennis is the vibe. Runs every day and actively avoids reading. So when he decides to start volunteering at a kitten nursery and his super cute co-volunteer Lizzie asks if he likes reading, he says no. Lizzie is certain her secret crush isn't Dylan. It can't be. But when he accidentally makes an obscure reference to her favorite book, she's not so sure anymore. Can Lizzie forgive Dylan for lying? Can Dylan be brave enough to be himself? Okay. Femme Feral by Sam Basinger. This has 2 covers. I don't know which I prefer. I think they're both interesting. Like most women, 46-year-old hyper-competent Ellie's already juggling too much. She's got a promotion coming up, and it's an inconvenient time to be beset by midlife symptoms. Coarse hair in new places, hot flushes, insomnia, losing time, finding bloodstains on all of her clothing, howling at the moon. Her doctor diagnoses perimenopause, but it's another 28-day cycle that's taking hold, one involving fur and teeth and a not so insignificant amount of rage. Yeah, this sounds like for lovers of Night Bitch and people who like really want to see female rage taken into a beastly direction. That's not really for me. And then Gerardo Sarmana Cordova, who we read Monstrilio from, announced Imps. It's about a woman and her brother in Mexico City who find themselves in her small apartment with a stranger she's knocked unconscious, a person they might have kidnapped during their mischievous childhood, exploring themes of imagination, loss, brokenness, and the quest for the extraordinary. That is also 2027. That sounds good. I also saw Brick Wall announced by Katie Cotugno, in which the spoiled and scandal-plagued daughter of a legendary Manhattan media mogul and her hot but taciturn driver begrudgingly fall for each other as a spate of high-profile kidnappings terrorize the city's elite. Del Sandine, author of This Cursed House, has a 2026 release called Death is My Castle. It says there's 2 sisters who inherit a house in Savannah, Georgia, only to discover that it may be haunted by the man who built it in 1910. Oh, and then I saw this one called Where to Put Your Tongue by Amanda Montell, and I just had to know because the title was interesting. A young dialect coach to the stars develops an unexpected and risky word-filled flirtation with a cult-followed film director, calling into question her values, her ambitions, and the seduction of language. Okay. 2028. What a long wait for that one. I think that's all I've got for you today. Let me know, as always, which ones you are interested in, which ones you're not interested in, what your favorite covers are. I had such good lighting at the beginning of this, which is why I decided to film it even though I'm not feeling well. I was going to skip my Wednesday upload, but I thought the sun's here. It hasn't been here in a week. I might as well. And then it just vanished really quickly. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me. I don't know which of these I'll actually end up reading. I feel like every time I post one, it's as if I'm adding 50 books to my TBR, but really I only actually find like a handful throughout the video that I actually think I'm going to read. My 2026 anticipated list video that I'm gonna have to make, I feel like is going to be way too full because I keep making these videos and they're coming more and more frequently. Like I used to do them every 3 to 4 months and now I'm doing them like every 6 weeks because there's just so much being announced all the time and I'm happy for everybody and their new books. So I will see you in another video this weekend. I hope you love it. Bye!